Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, so let's go ahead and find out why there has not been a census. So as you may have seen some things reported in the dailies, but we'll have more perspectives now. Ajuri.
Thank you so much, Chamberlain, and welcome back to our Abuja studio, where I have with me Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Ita Inang, to discuss this the decline of assent to the PIGB and other related issues. You're very welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Obviously, there's been so much reaction that has trailed the decline of assent, and we just want to get your response. What informed the President's decision to withhold his assent to this bill?
Well, let me say that the assent, communication of assent or communication of decision of Mr. President withholding assent was communicated to the National Assembly on the 29th of July. That is 1 day and 1 month and 2 days ago. But the National Assembly is on vacation, deserved vacation, and so it was not read. It has not been read in plenary. That's why you may not have heard of it, because unless it is read in plenary, it may not come to the notice of the public. And let me apologize to the legislature, because ordinarily I'm not supposed to speak on this matter until it has been read. But given the issues arising, so that the public does not get misled, Mr. President considers that if you look at the particular section 26 of the bill and other sections, there is allocation to the Petroleum Regulatory Commission. There's some of a percentage of 10% that they will take as its own revenue. And Mr. President considers that this is very high, given the fact that the money that is made by the Commission belongs to the 3 tiers of government, and it belongs to the federal government, state government, the Federal Capital Territory, and the 768 local governments and the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory. Mr. President considers that as father of the nation, and as that it is inadvisable for that amount or that percentage to be gotten and used by the Commission, particularly when you consider that there are other sources of funding for the Commission, that the Commission will have too much money and there will not be much left to be shared or made available to other tiers of government. That was the major decision. Because when you look at the bill, there is the provision for budgetary provision for by the National Assembly for the agency. I take your leave to look at the...
You mean, to be precise, for the Petroleum Regulatory Commission?
Yes, yes. I take you. Let me just draw attention of the listening public to this, because it does appear that the funds of the Commission comes from these sources. The fund shall comprise such money as may be determined and appropriated to the Commission by the National Assembly for its personal costs. Fees charged for services rendered to holders of licenses, permits, or other authorizations. Income derived from publications produced by the Commission and from reviews and other related activities. Fees for services rendered to non-petroleum producing companies and service companies, and for other services performed generally. Grants, loans, grants in aid, or grants of land from communities for facilities for use by the communities. And F, such money which shall be 10% of the revenue generated by the Commission for the government of the Federation, as may be determined by the determined and appropriated to the Commission. Now, Mr. President considered that given all these other sources of fund, taking such percentage of 10% of what you generate by the Petroleum Regulatory Commission is unduly high, and it will be shortchanging the federal government, the state government, the FCT, and the local government and area councils. This is one of the reasons why Mr. President declined assent. If you look at the Fiscal Responsibility Act, it has stated how monies for agencies under the Commission, all of them, and these are all agencies too, should, that they don't return all the money they make. They return only a part of it, and it has stated the percentage. And the profit is paid into the Federation account or the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government. You only retain only a percentage of it. Then if you look at other sources, other laws relating to generation of funds and spending of funds, this is a little bit high in excess. If you look at the Inland Revenue Service Act and the law, the Inland Revenue Service Act, it has stated what some of these commissions, at least what the Inland Revenue could keep, the customs could keep, and so on. And I think Mr. President considers that this is just too high, in addition to other reasons.
Distinguished, what do you say to those who have raised very serious concerns about the idea that this is just a matter of President Muhammadu Buhari protecting the expansive powers of the presidency over the oil and gas sector, that indeed this bill threatens to whittle down his powers and he's trying to stop that from happening? Is that the motive?
Definitely, and definitely not the motive. Mr. President has stated his reasons, and these are the only, I think, only 3 or 4 reasons that are so, and sections which he has reservations, which is all and completely in the interest of the country, not just the federal government, not just the state government, not just the local, but the interest of the country. And if you know that the petroleum sector and the earnings from that sector is a great thing, more than 80 or 75 or 78% of the entire revenue that funds the budget of the country, the federal government and the state government, then you will know that if you allow this to happen, then it will be catastrophic for the entire country. And of course, Mr. President is the president of Nigeria. If he were selfish, he would have said, look, this petroleum, this amount is for money that will be made available to a parastatal or agency of the federal government. I'm in charge of the federal government, so it doesn't really matter. Now, Mr. President is considering, no, you will be treating other tiers of government, the local and the state government. And as the president, he believes that he knows, and he actually comes out to protect the entire constituents of the country.
Very quickly.
And nothing absolutely has to do with his interest. In fact, it was this allegation, which was very sore and bad, that made me take the leave of the legislature to issue a statement on this matter to clarify and state exactly, because none of the reasons that was given by any of the media houses that reported the decline of Assent, none of the reasons were correct. And so I had to bring out the correct reasons as contained in Mr. President's communique.